Hello everyone. I am excited to host you at this conversation with Archana Verma, Head Technology Services, Sun Life ASC India, as part of ETHRWorld Women Trailblazers. Archana has over 26 years of industry experience in establishing, managing, and transforming delivery centers with a global footprint. She has worked with the executive leadership team in strategic decision and differentiated growth planning. Archana has driven operational excellence with initiatives around efficiency improvements, expertise upscaling, and methodology transitions. She is an able leader in conceptualizing and driving technology transformations and implementing emerging technologies, modern engineering practices. Archana, we are super glad to have you here with us today.
Okay. Thank you, Apeksha, for having me. Really glad to be here.
So, Archana, to start this conversation, if you can please tell us what has been the driving force to get you where you are today, a little bit about your own journey.
So, the driving force behind where I am today, I think I would attribute it to three factors. One is my upbringing, the education, career, the values that have been instilled by my parents in me: hard work, commitment, a trusting environment, which has made me successful, give my best to whatever I pick up. I think the other I would say is the support system. I got married in a family which was of professionals, and my in-laws, my husband are extremely supportive in me being focused on my career and giving it equal importance as I give to my family or to my personal space. I think the last and very key important point is an inner drive. So an intrinsic motivation for you to kind of continue on your journey. In my 26 years of my working, I have played multiple roles. I have been an individual contributor where I was a developer, I was an architect, I picked up management positions, I was a CIO of a company, and I represented my country when we were giving updates related to APAC and others. While playing all these multiple roles, there was always an inner drive to do something and do something very well so that you're known for your work. It's not only just get a position, it is also to be able to contribute and get the satisfaction of delivering something exceptionally. So I think that inner drive and inner passion has kept me going. And this was the drive and the support system which enabled me to pick up challenging roles, enabled me to kind of even pick up and start doing my MBA while I had a 10-year-old kid and I had a full-time job. So despite all these things, I think it's a combination of your values, of the support system that acts as an enabler and an accelerator, and your inner passion.
With your kind of an experience, it spans over 26 years in the industry. As a female leader, what were some of the biggest challenges and lessons that you have learned this far?
Apeksha, my personal opinion is that challenges can be converted to opportunities. So overall, I do not think there would be any professional who's not faced obstacles or challenges. I'm also one of those. But I've been very fortunate to have worked in MNCs where diversity has been given importance. And it's not only being given importance, it's also that you're surrounded with colleagues and mentors whom you can approach if you face obstacles or challenges. But I think if I have to classify what my top challenges would be, I would say that my biggest challenge has been the inner conflicts within me on priorities. In our life, you have your personal space, you have your family, your kids, your husband, your in-laws, and then you have your profession. So I think you would want to develop in each of these, give you maximum time for all of them, and would want to excel in each of these things. But that is not humanly possible. So I think picking up the right priorities at the right time, I think has been very conflicting within me. Like when my son was born, I left my job so that I could be a full-time mother to give him my maximum this thing, because that's something that only a mom can do. But when he grew up, I picked up doing full-time study with a full-time job so that I could give more importance to my self-development. When he grew even further, I gave more priority to my profession so that at least I could develop that. So I think making those decisions and fighting your inner conflicts so that you do not feel guilty in making those choices, whether putting yourself first before your family or sometimes putting your family over your profession. I think that has been kind of a challenge, but I think I've been very fortunate to have support of my husband and my parents to help me make the right decisions. I think the other, I would say, are more minor points, but still important. As I mean, there were many instances when I was the first woman leader in a seniors group, and networking would appear as a challenge. You'll be at an offsite and you would be the only woman. Other peers would be playing golf, and things which would come to them so easily seemed like a challenge for me. So networking, although you're a friendly person and you do your work well, but networking would appear like a challenge. I think breaking barriers when there are perceptions like, oh, if you are empathetic, or if you're focused on emotions, or you're compassionate, you considered soft. I think so breaking those barriers sometimes takes more effort, but in the end, these are obstacles, and many times they turn out to be opportunities which you can surpass and turn around the situations to your benefit. If I focus on the lessons that I have learned from these, and if I would like to give a message, I think I would say, take time to decide. Do not take decisions under pressure, and then be happy with the decisions that you have taken. What is more important is for you to be in the state of happiness and give your best in whatever you have decided, whether it is to be a full-time mom, whether it is to give your profession a back seat or give your profession a front seat. I think each person has a different circumstance and a different desire, but take time to make the decision. But once you've made that decision, give it your more than 100%. I think the other lesson that I have learned is that you need help. Do not shy away from asking for help. Now, whether that help is in the form of advice, whether that help is in the form of a career counselor or a mentor to help you advance your career, or it is in terms of asking for support, just in the temporary situation that you are. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Identifying where you are struggling or where you need help will help you to be able to overcome that situation and then progress at a much faster pace.
So moving on to the next question, Archana, it's about the technology world which you're talking about now, and you having such rich experience in working in technology roles across varied verticals. What has this taught you about developing more women tech professionals into leaders? Because as we can see, that is still a little male-dominated area.
So I think the most important thing is to make the environment safe and biasless. I do not know if there's a world like biasless, because there are lots of biases which exist based on what our thoughts are and what our beliefs are. But I think in terms of, at least from a gender perspective, ensuring that there's a biasless environment is extremely important. As a women professional, I can tell you that whenever anyone comes and tells me that there's diversity and we want to promote women, my first instinct or reaction is that I don't want to be favored, right? I want to be known for what I'm capable of and what I'm delivering. So I think if we have an environment which is absolutely where biases do not exist and where everyone, right, believes in themselves, I think then you can create an environment of meritocracy. And I have seen when in my teams or my organizations, when I have worked to create that kind of an environment, you do not need anything else. Then the support itself is enough to be able to enable women to grow and become leaders, rather than focus on just being women professionals. They focus on being great technology leaders. I think the other thing which I have seen where one needs to work more is believing in oneself. And mostly for women, I have seen in all these years, there's tremendous talent. There is just a need for little encouragement, nudge, to tell them that we have your back. Do not worry, you will face challenges either because you have more priorities. It does not matter. We are here to support you. Just instilling that belief in them ensures that they go leaps and achieve great success. I think other thing I would say is that there is sometimes encouragement needed to to make women take more responsible roles where they get more visibility. Because what I have seen, especially in technology, women do great work, but many times they will not market themselves or talk about the good work that they have done. So I think sometimes taking those roles and making themselves more visible can definitely help them to advance their career. And of course, it's always important to continuously develop and learn yourself. Because of so many priorities, sometimes that takes a backseat, but it's extremely important, especially if you look at technology today. It is changing at such a fast pace that if you do not keep track and you do not keep yourself abreast and work to develop and learn yourself, you will not be able to keep with the pace. So that is also very important.
Again, very well said and some great points made there. So in line with this year's International Women's Day campaign, which is also around breaking the bias, how will you choose to break the bias?
There are two things that I will focus on. The first is related to my previous point in terms of creating an environment where the bias is minimized. And for that, I think education is very important. So for women and men to come together, to be able to talk about what that bias is, what are the situations where many times there's an unconscious bias, very small statements that you will hear, either by team members who have a women boss, women supervisor, or by the peers. So I think just education on that, so that at least the environment can be better than what it is. I think I would definitely endeavor to work in that direction. The second is I have benefited a lot by having women and male mentors who have helped me to be able to traverse this journey. I would want to create a platform where there are mentors to aid and develop leaders and allow them to have open discussions and guide them where required, so that they can benefit from utilizing their full potential. So these are two things that I would definitely want to work on.
Thank you, Archana. It was such a pleasure to listen to all those inspiring words and insights from you, from your journey. I'm sure it will be a motivator for a lot of women professionals out there. And I'm very glad with the kind of futuristic perspective that you have just shared with us on mentorship. I wish you good luck, and thank you for joining us today for this conversation on ETHRWorld Women Trailblazers.
Thank you so much, Apeksha. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Archana.